Welcome back to Balan Wonderworld. So, yeah, let's continue World 1. Because, there's more. I don't really care about the Isle of Thames. It's boring. Act 2 of Chapter 1.
The game where the main character, who is on the cover, doesn't really have that much presence.
Chapter 1, Act 2. The man who rages against the storm. We have yet to see who this man who rages against the storm. I'm guessing it's
Or was that farmer it?
Well, yeah, I'm guessing since the drawing of the farmer that was creepily looking at us while he was a giant, yeah, I guess that's the man. But again, the game. This is another problem that I will bring up when we get to the boss of this game. But for now, yeah, one thing you can do, every time you go into a checkpoint, you can go to the dressing room to change outfits. Any outfits that you have deposited in your dressing room, you can switch. However, as you guys know, I only have 2 outfits so far, so obviously there's nothing for me to do here. I just wanted to...
Like I mentioned, you can actually stock up on multiples of the same costume. Unfortunately, that requires you to go back multiple times to the costume case with another key and unlock it over and over and over again. Now, for the most part, sometimes the key... Oh, go on.
Oh, no, you finish first. It's fine.
Now, a lot of times the key will be right next to the costume case. Unfortunately, there are some times where they have to hide the key, which means that, well, you have to go about just to get the key to this one costume.
By the way, for whatever reason, the game also gives me this blue blaster outfit that I don't need, that it just already is in my dressing room for some reason. I don't really get that, but whatever. Yeah, like Joe was saying, you can't just pick up the power-ups like in Mario or any other platformer for that record. You have to collect a key to be able to unlock the jewel or whatever it is that's holding the outfit. Speaking of outfit, here's one of the more useless outfits. Elastic plant. What is it?
I remember
what is it?
From Mario Odyssey, but better.
Yeah, this is basically the onion of Mario Odyssey, but crap. You hold the button to, stretch yourself, as I'm about to demonstrate. There you go.
Okay, I will admit the visual effects of the level bending around you in this one are pretty neat. Like it's supposed to be something out of.
Make sure you don't play. Make sure you don't play on the Switch though, because those effects make the game chug like crazy. Hey, look, Drips, footballer.
Oh god, these bits here.
I love how they call it football instead of soccer. Free kick challenge. Wait. Now we're playing football, dudes. Now we're playing football.
So just like just like with Balan's bouts, unless you get these absolutely perfect, you won't get the reward. The good news, the reward is just. That's the good news is that the reward you get for these is just like
drops.
More drops, which are the main collectibles. So
basically, these minigames are nothing but a. So basically, these minigames are nothing but a waste of your time.
Yep.
They're not even fun.
The costumes, though, very.
Yes, let me explain the costumes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shuri.
No, it's just one of the baffling things to me. Is the way you have to equip them. You have to go back to those little dressing rooms to only equip 3 at a time. You can't just go into your menu, like say a Hat in Time, select a few, and then I think use one of the analog sticks to switch in between them within seconds. No, you have to go back every time you want to switch out, and you will need to switch out, sometimes even in the same level. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, basically.
Jesus.
The big problem with the...
Even Mighty Number 9 knew to do better than
Hello,
that.
Farmer, what are you doing in the top of the pumpkin? But anyway, the point is, like Java was saying, you need to find a key for whatever reason to get your power up, and which is pointless because most of the time, 90% of the time indeed, in fact, the key is almost always right next to the power-up, as you can see there. So what's the point of having the key? Just eliminate that extra step.
Well, Pedro, the point is that sometimes they hide the key in needlessly difficult to find places sometimes, or just bouts that really out the game more.
And now the Dainty Dragon outfit.
The Dainty Dragon one.
The Dainty Dragon outfit is the one that...
Wait.
Yes.
Pedro, I got the perfect lead-in. So, Pedro, quiz time. Just how much can you screw up a game by making it so that pretty much every control except for moving is directed to one button?
Simple. First of all, let me explain what the Dainty Dragon does. You press X, or press a button, and you can just throw a flame. That's about it. And it covers very few...
But Pedro, I was under the implication that we needed that button to jump. So what would we do with a costume that now has the button that was used to jump now be the button that is used to breathe fire?
Simple. You don't. Yes, everybody.
Switch it up.
If the outfit that you're using does not has its own action that doesn't involve jumping, that means that you will not be able to jump with that outfit. Meaning you can. It's literally possible to put yourself in a position in this game where you cannot jump. This is a platformer that occasionally takes your ability to jump away from you. Again, this is
even better, Shiroi, because if the Dainty Dragon were, say, Pedro's only costume, the only way he'd be able to take it off is by going to one of these areas or purposely getting hit. Otherwise, he'd be
it's like I said earlier, you're going to have to switch out. It's a constant back and forth in these pretty sizable levels that you run very, very slowly through.
But it's okay, Shiroi, because these random NPCs are now throwing a party for us, apparently.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Wow, now they're not disappearing. What the hell?
Jova, can you explain to me what exactly are these NPCs and why are they here? What are they doing and why?
They are denizens of,
Wonderworld.
This particular farmer's specific Wonderworld, essentially. Okay, for those who probably have recognized what I'm talking about, there is in fact a novel, which might as well be your guide to explaining the story of this game. So, here's the problem. While what I will describe does sound like, an actual keen story, actually reading that story is kind of a chore. Why? Because it feels like a story that has very weird pacing and feels like it was geared to, be the story of a video game. Now, that's not to say that the story of a video game can't work in another medium, but I mean, it literally feels like it was paced to be the script for this game. I mean, they still have, the terminology that you see in the book with the whole past tense stuff and stuff, but no, the way the pacing goes is more like level to level to level, essentially. Now, that being said, Leo actually does start out in his own world before, he and Emma are tasked with helping these people here. In fact, he actually gets to meet these people originally before getting trapped in his own world.
I have a feeling that I'm being watched. Probably because I am...
It's creepy.
It makes no sense. But anyway, the point is, the outfits can basically screw you over because, again, I have Naka's insistence on trying to make every single button do one thing was supposedly to make the game very simple and accessible to children.
In a game that has 80 different costumes.
Not just that. Naka, I don't know if you've actually got out of your house ever since the 90s, but you know what most kids play nowadays? They play Fortnite, which is a game that uses more than one button. We're no longer in the 90s, Naka-san. Kids are much more apt with technology today than they were back in the early 90s. It's
hell.
It's all gaming with whole keyboards, Naka.
Not only that, even in the 90s, we were already getting out of the whole one-button mentality stuff.
Well, remember,
I grew up with Spyro, a collectathon platformer, and that used more than one button for different things.
I grew up with Sonic and Crash, and that's the thing. Here's the thing. Sonic technically could do more than just jump in his games. That was because Sonic's games were on a 2D plane. So you could still use the up and down directional buttons and other directional buttons to do under the other moves when you combine that with the button.
I love Balan's theme, naturally.
Yeah. Hey, I like Balan too. Why don't we play as him in a game that literally has him on the cover?
And there we go.
I like how he didn't even
How
bother
dare you
answering
see?
that.
You don't play as nice all the time in those games.
Haha!
Well,
now behold, as I destroyed these incomprehensible things that you don't know what they are! Aren't I so awesome?
It's funny you mention that, because yes, technically you don't always play as knights. The thing is that when you played as the humans, that was either at the start of the level, or that was your punishment for running out of time while playing as knights. Again, the punishment. So weirdly enough, the human gameplay in this game feels on point, because it certainly feels like a punishment, except it's like if they made it a completely its own game. And I'll just say this, even Journey of Dreams at least made playing as the humans more bearable with some new bells and whistles and whatnot. No. This feels like OG Knights level of human gameplay.
And there you go. 4 excellence.
Yay,
Perfect.
you got the trophy.
Yay!
Statue, actually.
Statue, yeah. All that.
Yeah, basically. Alright, so that was that's an example of how you can do a Balan's bout. The trick to the Balan bouts, is specifically the early ones, because they get harder in the second half of the game. But for the first half of the game, here's the trick to doing the Balan bouts well. Don't bother trying to get it 100% perfect with the sync. Here's what you do. When you see the silhouette disappear completely into Balan, that's when you press it. There you go. The timing will actually start requiring actual proper timing from you in the second half of the game, but we're not there yet. So.
Alright, while
Yes, Lips?
So while this whole bunch of nothing's going on, I wanted to. I alluded to it in the last part, but there's another thing that I do remember about the early days of this game's announcement. Was this trend that I know at least Jova is getting pretty sick and tired of seeing every time something like this is announced.
Hold on, let me explain the pounding pig. Yes, the pounding
into the ground, and that's it.
Yeah, basically. You pound things, and you can make them like this. These things are the pounding pads, circles, whatever they are, and it does that. There you go. That's what the pounding pig does. It does nothing else aside from that. Oh, it also hovers, kind of, in the air, but only a little. Carry on.
That's it.
No, I mean for you to carry on.
No. What are you guys sick of?
No. Yeah, I was just asking if that was it for Pedro. Basically, people have this. When it comes to games like this being announced, some people on the internet have a very obnoxious habit of basically just getting behind the game, not because they think the game looks good, or whether they really want to see more games like this in the mainstream, but purely just to spite the company because of what they perceive as them just basically sticking the middle finger to them. So they're basically doing the same just basically doing it in reverse, getting behind this game solely to spite another publisher. In this case, it would be Sega.
Oh yeah, I get what Dwigs is talking about. There were people talking about how, they're gonna show Sonic Team and Sega how to truly do a Knights game. And of course, there were the typical people who call Iizuka a hack, ignoring the fact that he probably had more heart for the Sonic and Knights series than Naka ever did. And I'm not exaggerating. Naka has some issues.
Did you read Iizuka for your first bit?
No. My point is people tend to demonize Iizuka but glorify Naka, even though, honestly, if you compare the two, Iizuka was the one who always had the more heart of, the veterans for Sonic and Knights.
The thing about Naka is that he's a great programmer and nothing else. Like, he's a fantastic programmer, as he demonstrated in the original Sonic games, and in the first Knights game, of which he was the lead programmer as well. The thing is, he always had Oshima, Yasuhara, and in Knights' case, Iizuka, there to, complement his programming with actual good direction and art. Naka this time is the director. He's in charge of this bloody thing, which is something which much like Mark Cerny, he's the kind of developer that works best as a middleman, not as the head of a project.
Just a reminder, Naka is the reason we had some of that weird voice acting in Sonic Adventure 2, because he thought, a Japanese guy's the best guy to direct an American voice cast. Not to say it's impossible, but he's the reason we have characters spouting random Japanese gibberish in Sonic Adventure 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what Pedro just said earlier also leads me into something else that at least I've been getting sick and tired of seeing.
Let me just quickly, before you get into that, let me quickly explain that mini-boss I just fought. Basically, sometimes Lance will send his, lackeys to guard a specific door. All you have to do is hit them 3 times, and they have free masks. Every time you hit them, one of their free masks goes on, and when you kill off their masks, they die. I don't really understand how the whole thing works. It's way too abstract for its own good. Anyway, act over. Be quick, Lips, please.
I'll just say it after this thing's come up because it might take a while.
Sure. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We finally recovered and reconstructed the farmer's heart, I guess.
Because now we're...
So you're probably wondering, why should I give a shit about this farmer? Well, the game is about to tell us. Yeah.
Now, okay, when I first saw these cutscenes, I thought, oh, you get this at the start of each level and you learn more. Not so.
This is another thing that's interesting about
the farmer.
This is another thing that's interesting about the CGI cutscenes involving the people you're saving. I feel like they cut on. There were some corners that were cut because a lot of these cutscenes have little to no movement in terms of character animation. It feels.
Pedro. Remember that everything CGI was sort of a last-minute addition, as per Square Enix's executive manhandling, and this is one of the cases where executive mandates help the game.
So there you go. The story here is that this farmer's crops are being destroyed by an evil tornado with evil eyes.
Well, okay. To be fair, the evil eyes is more a representation of, negative emotions and all of that. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, Balan Wonderworld is a game about trying to help mental issues, including...
Oh, hold on, Joe. Let me mention this. Notice how Lance here is about to, I guess, turn him into a Heartless.
Basically, each person you're supposed to help, they turn into the boss.
That's the thing, Jova. That thing of Lance turning him into the boss, we only see it in this boss, not in the other ones. It's like they forgot. It's like they forgot to put the Lance cutscene for the other bosses.
I guess their idea was like, well, hey, here's how it goes. Now just assume he does that for everyone else.
Okay, so here's how you defeat this boss. Step on his toes 3 times. There you go. Carry on, Dips.
Alright,
wait, hold on. Before he gets to that, I should mention some things about the bosses that are pretty nice. Okay, one point in this game's favor. Each boss does, in fact, get their own unique theme. And given how there are more than 12 in this one, I can appreciate the effort there, and they all sound pretty great. Now, in order to get the Balan trophy statues for this one, you need to use free specific costumes to hit the boss. Now, mind you, I said free specific costumes. Here's a bit of the catch here. The game does, in fact, encourage you to go back to certain levels with certain costumes from future or past levels. Problem, if you're replaying the boss, you don't know which free costumes you need to hit that boss with to get the trophy, so that leads to a lot of experimentation.
There you go.
Believe it or not, folks, things are about to get trippy.
Much like Mario bosses, the bosses in this game work on the rule of free hits. And there you go, we saved the farmer from...
Oh, wait.
Whatever.
Oh God, here we go.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, guess what we'll do?
So, in order to cure mental health issues, or, the problems of our characters, I kid you not...
We have a dance number.
We dance.
And yes, I get that what Naka said. One of the biggest pushes for this game, according to him, is musical theater. Okay, that's nice, I guess, but the problem with these numbers is that they don't really reflect on whatever the hell the story is telling us. Really, they're just dancing just because.
Especially because we have no lyrical context because the language is fictional.
Alright.
Oh, but you're right. There actually is a way to get the songs in English. You have to get all the Balan trophy statues in order to hear the English versions of these songs.
No, not happening.
Okay,
That's right. In order to understand something, you have to do this little extra stuff here.
Ending.
Oh, yeah.
And here's our final conclusion. Yes, we literally just got this intro. Now we get his epilogue. Seriously, the pacing in this game is terrible.
I'll explore them.
One thing the novel did better was saving the epilogues for later in the story, where after everything is solved. No, you get the epilogues here, even though technically going off of the story of the novel, these people are not quite out of their worlds here and there. So
the idea, but that's okay, Shiroi, because now the farmer has got his corn crops done.
We did it, Shiroi, by kicking his butt and dancing with him. he will now be able to raise the crops. Oh, by the way, in the novel, apparently he was trying to raise the crops to get his kids through college or some drama like that.
Haha! And now behold, as I put you in this weird ghost train thing.
Wait. When did this become Demon Slayer Mugen Train?
Yes. Now this is now Balan Slayer, bitches. But anyway.
No.
Okay.
I'm getting Polar Express vibes.
You're probably wondering what the hell is this train? Every time you get enough statues to unlock the next batch of levels, you get this. This is that cutscene repeated every single time, and I have no idea why.
Same hub world.
It just takes you back to the same hub world. You think it would be like Dark Chronicle?
Now a level pops up.
You think it'd be like Dark Chronicle, where you travel to whatever the next hub world is like? But no, you're just going on a trip to go back from where you left.
Did they just not have enough money to generate different hub worlds for each one?
Like, if you're not gonna actually have multiple hub worlds, don't even bother having this train sequence. There's no point to it. It's like if I went on an airplane from London to London. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm. What's the name of the London airport? The London airport.
Heathrow.
It's like I'm in Heathrow. Okay. I wanted a plane ticket. Okay, plane ticket for where? To London. Wait, to London, but you're already in London. No, but I want to fly from London to land back in London.
I just want it to be slightly different when I come back.
It's funny you say that because, Dwibs, can you fly from Heathrow to London City Airport?
I don't know. I don't know why I'd want to.
Would it be a lot easier to just, use a car or something?
Or the underground.
Anyway, before I explain the pacing, how the pacing is terrible, let's finish your point.
I was just gonna say, if there's one thing that this game also kind of inadvertently perpetuated after it came out, was that stupid mentality I see going around all over online, especially from those quote-unquote insightful video reviews, where basically the guy in charge, who in the past had made good stuff, basically people all of a sudden now say, "Oh, this game sucks. This guy was never good," and they start nitpicking his previous games to quote explain how bad they always were.
But Dwebs, we're the internet. We have to always be complaining about something. What else could we possibly do?
I don't know. Life's more fun when you don't do that.
Move on to other things.
But Sheila, how am I supposed to make up for the fact that my life outside of the internet is lonely and sad? I have to take it out on something.
No, you don't. You could choose not to, but anyway.
I think this game is bringing out the best in all of us.
Anyway, well, Jova, baby, it's this game that's filling me with negative emotions.
But Pedro, this game is supposed to help you with that.
Anyway, let me explain something about the pacing. Did you notice how incredibly nonsensical the pacing of the story is so far? So let me get this straight. We get into these levels, the first two ads specifically, the levels themselves, that are supposed to, they have corn, they have tomatoes, they have pumpkins, so all it's supposed to be is supposed to symbolize the internal struggle and the overall thoughts and dreams of the farmer. However, we only get the proper intro for the farmer's story right before we beat his boss form. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense to have the opening CGI be before Act 1 and instead of before the boss? That way you know what.
Much like how I was when I first saw the cutscene compilations videos, I thought, oh, so obviously this intro cutscene takes place like when you enter the level or whatnot. Not so. Okay. It literally is all right before and after the boss. Now, if you want to know how the novel does this, essentially, these worlds are actually the characters' ideal worlds. We do learn a bit about their tragedies as we go along in the worlds, and they are forced to confront them after being fought. Again, it's not amazing, but at least it makes some literary bout of sense, unlike how this story is doing it.
Yeah, basically. It makes no sense because it would make a lot more sense to have the CGI opening thing for the farmer to show up before we start the levels. not before we fight the boss. It makes little to no sense to pace the story this way. So you don't understand the context of the levels you're traversing through until you finish them. That makes sense. Like, it makes no sense to pace the story this way. I don't understand. Whatever.
Believe it or not, folks, it's only gonna get worse from here.
Yes, the game. Yeah, this is where we start to get into some of the worst levels in the game.
Oh! We're going to level 2 next. Please tell me we're going to level 2 next.
Well, usually level 2 comes after level 1, so yes, you would be correct.
Why would we do anything different?
Well, that's the thing. Well, that's the thing, guys. At this point, there's often a choice between levels 2 and 3 to progress to.
That is a
Oh, okay.
that is
I'm pretty sure Pedro goes in order, though.
That's a good point. That's a good point, though. I appreciate my numerical orders, though. So yes, we will go to level 2. So see you then.
See ya.
Yeah.